Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It's been one hell of a long day, and I thought, you know what? On a day like this, it would be great to do a little bit of shit it's the fan prepping potpourri. So let's see what we can come up with. All right, like I said, boy, what a long day, but I had Jolene send me some of comments and suggestions that she thought were interesting, and I could address them. So starting right off the bat, there was a comment from someone, what are you prepping for, right? You know everything is going wrong. You know what the government is doing is wrong. You know, shouldn't you be fighting? Shouldn't you be rebelling? And the answer to that is... Really? No, we can't do that. I mean, quite honestly, yeah, we know that the government is out of control, especially when you look at people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who says now, I'm the boss, because no one else is trying, right? And that kind of ties into this comment from one of our patrons here. Is, well, she thinks that because she sees the right way to do things, or she sees a way to do things, and since nobody else is doing things to satisfy her demands, that's Ms. Cortez, right, that she's just going to be the boss and step up, right? Well, we all see that the government is doing things wrong, spending money, abusing us, trampling rights, right? And so since nobody else is doing anything, then I guess all we're left with is fighting. Well, the fact of the matter is everybody is trying to do something, either in the local, the state, the federal level. They're working with the government, trying to reel them in, suing them in courts, right, using social media, using mainstream news and other news sources to try and stop them. But I'll tell you what, it's not that easy of a fight. It's just not that easy of a fight. You know, I mean, where do you fight? Where is the battlefield? Well, if you want to pick a courtroom, you've got to find an area, and then you've got to ask the government to curtail itself. You know, we see injustices in the world. You can't just go fight everybody and everything. I mean, where are you going to start? And more importantly, well, even if you win the battle, right, and you want to have a physical fight, is that going to stop government? Is that going to change government? Is it going to curtail their behavior? Is it going to modify anything? Or are they just going to come down on us even harder? And literally, who are you going to fight? It reminds me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail when they attack the castle and they're poking and prodding the stones with swords. Right? How do you attack something that big? Right? So, you know, this idea of, well, we need to fight. I understand the frustration. And how do you propose that happens? Even if we had let's just say that people are perfectly justified in our position and our belief that the government is abusive and needs to be gotten rid of, right? How would you organize against the government, right? The next question is, what do you think would happen if a full-scale rebellion broke out? There would be a loss of transportation, food, fuel, electricity, water, everything. The country would go into shutdown phase. So this idea of, well, yeah, you guys, you preppers, what are you prepping for? Exactly that thing. You've got to be able to live through what's coming. Right? So if there was a rebellion that broke out, you better be a prepper first, because you can't get prepped afterwards. You know, so again, I understand the frustration, and some of these comments that I've read, not just on Patreon, but on other sites, is this call for arms, and it's time to start shooting. Some people are actually trying to encourage others to break the law, right? To give the government an excuse to start arresting individuals who are openly seditious and violent and calling for violence and the death and destruction and mayhem of others. So I tend to avoid questions like that and addressing it in some sort of meaningful, tactical way, because it just doesn't make any sense to do so. but be a prepper first. And when shit does hit the fan, regardless of who starts it or the cause, right, you've got to survive and get through it. And once again, yeah, it is a frustrating game we're playing, watching the government come around us, come down around us, come down on us. Ridiculous, right? It is just absolutely absurd. And then listening to government, employees, agents, officials, they make absolutely no sense. The world is going to hell in a handbasket. And who are you going to fight against? City Hall, right? The state capitol, right? How do you organize against that? We are in a basically some sort of stranglehold Mexican standoff with the government, where they can't go against us or move against us, and we can't move against them. So anyways, just something to think about. Reading the comments and reading responses in the below video section, comment section, is a good idea. It helps keep you thinking, helps keep you looking at what's going on and questioning, right, our thoughts. And speaking of that, another person commented, John, I thought you studied law. The government has the right, the ability to suspend the Constitution anytime there's an emergency. Yeah, I'm very familiar with the law. Yeah, they have the right, right? But it's like a kid. You say, I told you not to eat the cookies, and then you went and put your hand in the cookie jar anyway. What were you thinking? And the kid's thinking, well, I'm in charge of myself. I'm going to do what I want. No one was there to stop me. That's what happens when there's an emergency. That's what happens whenever the government feels like it, is they make the rules up for themselves. They can put their hand in the cookie jar all they want. That comes down to might makes right. And they forgive themselves and give themselves permission. And then they claim, well, this is the reason behind our decision to give ourselves permission. What are you going to do about it? Now, if the Constitution, if the law says government is required to protect the people, to respect, uphold, and protect the right to life, liberty, right, and ownership of property, happiness, if that's their job, their primary function, the right to life, that's breathing, liberty, that's freedom, and property, that's to own yourself and everything around you that you have, right? It's yours. If that's their job and their primary job is to do that, and then they turn around in the next breath and say, well, at any time we can suspend that, suspend the entire Constitution and all the supporting documents, including the Declaration of Independence, then what they can do is claim in any emergency that your right to life, gone, liberty, gone. You can see where my hands are going with this, right? Your right to property, gone. And they can just give us the finger because there's an emergency. Are you fucking kidding me? No, it is not their right. That comes down to the law of might makes right. That is not God's law. That is not natural law. It's not common law. It's the government's law, the government's rule, the government's self-permission to break whatever rules it wants. So this idea that the government is all-powerful and can do it at once, and it can supersede law, that it supersedes our rights, is ridiculous. It is. I mean, it's patently untrue. Other than the one rule that governs all things on this stupid planet, and that is that might does make right. In other words, if somebody wants to break the law, you can look at them all day long and go, why did you break the law? Why did you steal my stuff? Why did you kill that person? Well, because they could and they got away with it, or at least temporarily got away with it. But it doesn't make it correct or right. And just because their buddy or their good friend said it was okay, doesn't make it okay. So the government, in times of an emergency, whatever they want to call an emergency, right? They break the law, then they have the court, their buddy, rule in their favor and say, oh yeah, it's perfectly fine and acceptable. When shit hits the fan, let me ask you this. When shit hits the fan, and let's just say there's a rogue sheriff's deputy, and he's going down the street and he's knocking on doors, and if people give him any crap, any guff, they don't hand over their weapons, he shoots them. And he says, hey, in times of emergency, when the government makes a demand, they have a right to everything you own, and they'll take your life, and it's okay. Does that fucking make it okay to you? No, it doesn't. It is not okay. You have a right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, property, locomotion, everything, regardless of emergency or not. So when you see that guy driving down the street, house by house, shooting individuals, are you going to lay down? Are you going to let him shoot you? Or are you going to say, wait a minute, my life is mine, and I'm not going to give it up. My rights are mine, in other words, and I'm not going to give them up. And I have a right to defend myself, and I will. Right? That's right. You got to think about it. The government is only getting away with what it wants because it is a gargantuan Goliath of a beast. Right? Kind of hard to hold it accountable, as we've discovered, because we can't just change the government. We can't just fight it. Right? Every time you try putting a finger on it, it moves out of the way, and it claims supremacy, sovereignty all the time. It is a difficult situation we're in right now. And the reason these comments are coming up is because people are frustrated. They're upset. It's good that we're prepping, right? It's good that we're prepping, but, we're stuck. We're stuck in this place. Things aren't getting better. They're definitely getting worse. You want to do something to fix it, but what really can you do? Meanwhile, you got idiots like AOC and Chuck Schumer and Feinstein and the rest of the idiots, both Democrat and Republican, making things worse. Spending money that they don't even have, that they haven't even taken the time to steal from us yet, and they're already spending it. I get it. Right? We're surrounded by lunacy. We're in an idiocracy, and it's run amok. Right? So what can you do? I had another great patron put in there, stop feeding the beast. Do your very best. Hey, you can learn how to do things for yourself on YouTube. And she said, look, I've learned do all kinds of stuff, right? Learn how to do things yourself. Get your money however you get it, pay your taxes, whatever is done, and then don't let your money out. Don't give money. Every time you pay taxes, all you're doing is feeding the beast, right? I know it's difficult to deal with this, but keep your money to yourself. It's yours. You earned it. Shop in thrift stores was the advice, right? Fix your own stuff. And while doing that, not only are you starving the beast, but you're teaching yourself. You're becoming a better prepper by learning skills. By learning skills, how to take care of yourself. How to not have to rely on others, right? Except those in your group and your immediate surroundings, that sort of thing, right? This is just where we're going, and it is all training for shit hitting the fan. It is all mental preparation for shit hitting the fan. The way we think about government and its agents. The type of actions we'll take when shit hits the fan. How you're going to deal with your resources and your skill levels. All of this is shit hits the fan related, and they're great comments. Understanding the law. Yeah, I understand it. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to apply it? When should you apply it? When should you not? Right? Like the fellow that says, hey, it's, why are we prepping? We need to go to war. Tell you what, when it comes, you'll wish it never had. But it's coming. This shit is getting worse all the time. We want to see things fixed, and we know we have to go through all of this. We have to go through all of this crap that's coming. And it seems inevitable, and I believe it is inevitable. To whatever degree things fall apart, it's inevitable. So get prepared. Right? Get prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Get prepared. I got some more comments about, I was cutting wood and I wrecked my arm, my elbow, my wrist, because it's hard work. And I say you need to get in better physical condition. You need to train your body physically. You need to train your mind physically. The work you do in shit hitting the fan is not like the work we do now. So this commenter was talking about cutting wood. You need, look into electric chainsaws, solar power, all great commentary, right? Because using a handsaw will, it wears you out. Well, that's why we need to get trained physically for actions that you'll take when shit hits the fan. You need to train on literally how to build a fire, right? How to cook, actually cook, not open a box, right? We need to understand these things and train our body physically to handle the rigorous nature. You can build a fire, sure, but where are you going to get the firewood? Well, you're going to be cutting branches, brush, trees. How do you do that? Well, saw an axe. That'll wear you out. You need to get in better physical condition. You need to understand you need to work a little, like an hour here, and then do a different type of work. And then come back later or the next day and do another hour, say, of cutting wood. But if you sit down and try and cut a week's worth of wood in one day, you're going to kill yourself, right? You're going to wear your shit out. Unless you know and you're already trained and you understand your limitations and your capacities, right? There's going to be a mental capacity to dealing with stuff, which we talk about a lot. And there's going to be a physical capacity. And it's important, right? If you're a lone wolf, that's a lot harder than if you've got a group of people where different skills, jobs, and abilities can all be picked and chose from those who are best capable, right? Getting prepared is a mental game in that you need to understand as much as you can from your perspective. In your world, you're the expert, right? I think about things with the information I have that's provided to me, with my experience, with my physical and mental abilities. I'm the expert in my world. You guys have to decide in your world how you're going to deal with it, right? If you're the fellow that says, hey, look, I'm tired of this shit. I'm going to go start a rebellion, right? I'm going to go after the bad guys, in other words. When shit hits the fan, if you take the attitude, I know where the bad guys are, I'm going to go take them out, you may very well be doing the correct thing, the honorable thing, the most useful and beneficial thing for everyone by eliminating some authoritarian assholes in your area. And then again, right, you may end up getting killed for it, right? So you have to decide for yourself what the right thing is to do. I can't tell anyone what the right thing for them to do is. I can just make recommendations and share my observations, right? Why aren't we doing more to stop everything that's going on? Well, I've been doing it for a long time. Since the early 90s, I've been involved in talking to people, involved in politics, trying to get things to change, right? And it's very difficult, very limited results. The best results I've had is here sharing on YouTube, sharing on Patreon, sharing the idea and the concept of getting prepared for what's coming. I've had a very big impact on people's lives, and I'm very proud and happy that people are getting prepared for what's coming. And from all walks of life, from the East Coast to the West Coast, overseas, right? That's how you, not me, that's how you can also affect the world for positive, by telling them to get prepared. Because if there's one thing the government's good at, it's fucking things up. And so we can count on them to do that. So no matter where we're talking about, whether it's China or Japan or all the way around the planet in Africa or South America or up in Europe or in North America, governments fuck everything up. You need to be prepared first. And if you're going to take action, you have to understand there's consequence. Right? So when shit hits the fan, you can sit back, preserve your energy, right? Or you can jump in there and take action. I don't know what's best. I don't know what's best for you. Depends on the situation, right? And that kind of leads me to this next comment, which was checkerboarded United States. Checkerboard, right? Right. We already know the country's divided up into blue and red. And the red areas, there's a lot more of them. And the blue areas are concentrated, urban areas, population where they're Democrat, right? But even out here in Republican country, in conservative country, and leave me the fuck alone freedom country, the red, we still have blue people living here. So when I say you need to get prepared for the 10-mile radius around us, right? Maybe your area is all red. Maybe your area is half red and half blue. Maybe you're surrounded by blue and you're kind of a red holdout. We're going to have this checkerboarded appearance. So that doesn't affect us a whole lot unless you need to travel, right? Unless you're trying to migrate, right? Shit had hit the fan 2 months later. There's limited fuel. There's limited travel. And yeah, this country is divided up. And maybe your area is really bad and you need to get out of it, right? You decide after a couple months it's time to leave. So where do you go? How do you trust the information? right? There's going to be a whole different world when shit hits the fan, whether it's shit hits the fan light or Captain Caveman, right? But this country is going to be divided up into little checkerboards, right? Red and blue, danger and safe. And even the safe zones are going to have danger cells within it. So it's something like travel or moving, regardless of the quality or danger level of shit hits the fan. It's going to be a very scary thing. Like the idea, right, of driving from state to state. A lot of people still think the country was like it was 40, 50 years ago, where if you've got California license plates and you're driving through the deep south, right, you get pulled over by a cop and he's going to arrest your ass for anything and everything, right? Because they don't like California, because they got their own opinion. Well, you know, I mean, that's a fear, right? That's a fear people have. When shit hits the fan, it's going to probably be more of a reality and less of a fear, right? You travel from one area to the other and someone says, "Who are you?" Right? You don't belong here. And you get that when you make a wrong turn and get into the wrong neighborhood. People look at you like, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And then they decide, because they use might makes right as their logic, well, this is our area and we're in charge and we don't like you, so we're going to take and do what we want to you. That's not constitutional. That's criminal. It's criminal when people do that to other people, and it's criminal when the government does it. There is no exemption because of an emergency. Shit hits the fan is going to be a giant emergency. And if you use that as an excuse to break the law at every turn, right, then you're not on the good side. You're not on the side of right. You're just on the side of might. Right? You're on the side of evil. You're on the side of what fucking people do in D.C., which is, well, I've got the power like AOC, and so now I'm the boss. And when I'm the boss, I make the rules and I do what I want. And there's nothing you can do about it because there's an emergency. Right? Can you imagine? Just right with that. That's what shit hits the fan is going to be like for a number of days or weeks or months, which is people making really dumb decisions and having really dumb conclusions that cause them to take really dumb actions. That's basically what's led us to this point already, is government making bad decisions and taking bad actions and thinking that they're right. The people in Washington are not the only idiots. They're all around us. They're completely surrounding us. They're complete fucking idiots. And when shit hits the fan, they don't instantly grow wisdom or common sense. No. They're going to continue to be stupid and probably become more stupid and take even worse actions based on even dumber decisions. Right? That's why we are preppers. So that we have the resources that we need to get through it. So that we practice thinking, what is best for me in my world? And on the checkerboard city map where you live, what color square are you on and who can you count on and rely on? Right? It's a mess. And this really is a potpourri episode of The Prepared Mind. Right? There's a lot of thinking out there. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I know what works for me. Right? You know, wow, whether we're talking about trying to make things right or trying to do it our way or you know, good God, what a mess. It's going to be a fucking mess. You know, so I want to thank everyone for the great comments. Right? Use your head, find out what works best for you, and get prepared. And at some point, you are going to be the law. Right? And you need to exercise that with maturity and intelligence, wisdom and love. Right? Those are going to be hard things to find when shit hits the fan. Really. Right? Intelligence. We can't find it now. How hard is it going to be to find when shit hits the fan? Wisdom. Same story. Right? Love. You think you're going to find love when shit hits the fan? You're going to find a lot of hate and anger and stupidity. Not love for your fellow man. It's not going to be out there. That's why we have to be prepped now. Because if we had all those things, we wouldn't have these problems today. Anyways, I want to thank you all. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. You guys be cool. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.